Does Zillow know something that you don't? There's a lot of people out there that believe that Zillow got out of the home buying business because they have some insight with regards to a looming housing crash in the housing market, and that's the reason that they stopped purchasing homes. Zillow originally came out and said that they stopped their iBuying program temporarily because of a labor shortage. They had too many homes out there. They couldn't take care of them. They couldn't do the rehabs on them like they wanted to, and they didn't have the manpower to manage these homes. And then just a couple of weeks later, they came out and said that they were stopping their iBuying entirely, and they were going to be selling all of the homes that they had currently purchased. And at the time, it was around 7,000 homes. And the word on the street at the time, and still is today, is that Zillow knows something that no one else does because of all the data that they're able to gather out there, and that they believe a housing crash is coming, and therefore they're getting rid of these properties so they don't continue to lose money. So in today's video, we're going to talk about what Zillow is actually seeing in the housing market. You know, they've come out recently, as in the last couple of days, and talked about, their forecast for the housing market over the next year. So we're going to talk about what they're actually seeing based on the data and see if it matches what everybody else out there is thinking. And we're also going to talk about what it means when Zillow decides to sell these properties. They've already sold 2,000 of them. Who purchased them? What do they plan to do with them? We're going to talk about that as well. And we're going to talk about what the market can actually bear if they do decide to put these properties on the market. Is it going to cause, a massive crash, or are things going to continue to move like they have been moving over the last couple of months to a year? My name is Jeb Smith. I'm a real estate broker here in Southern California. My channel is all about real estate. So do me a favor, if you find any value in this content at all, hit that thumbs up if you like it. And if you don't, hit the thumbs down. It's okay too. But my goal here is to provide you with some education, some insight, so that you can make informed decisions when buying and selling property. As I mentioned a moment ago, Zillow came out just a couple of weeks ago, put their brakes on iBuying, said we're not buying any more properties. In fact, we're going to sell everything we have in our inventory because we're losing money. We came out, we bought way too many properties at high prices, higher than we should have. Our algorithms were messed up, and now we own a bunch of property that's worth more than they're worth in a lot of markets out there, and we need to get rid of this. And the first thing that people thought was this is going to cause a housing crash. This is the first step to the housing crash. This is what's going to get things rolling. They're going to put all these homes on the market. It's going to build inventory, and it's going to be so much inventory that, it's going to change the dynamic of the market. But along with releasing that, they did say that they're trying to sell these properties in bulk. All 7,000 of them, they'd like to sell to one person. And, a lot of people thought, well, the BlackRocks are going to step in, these big corporations are going to step in and buy these properties. And that's essentially what we've seen happen, right? Last week, they sold 2,000 of these homes to one single investor. That investor plans to keep those properties and rent them out. So that means 2,000 of those homes aren't going to hit the market at all. So that's no new inventory with regards to 2,000 of them, but there's still 5,000 out there. So what happens if those 5,000 homes start to trickle to the market? Well, at the moment, nationwide, we're down about 4.5 million homes. So 5,000 homes coming to the market is really just a drop in the bucket. Now, the one thing you need to understand is out of those 5,000 homes that they're going to potentially put on the market if they're not able to sell, that's not all in one city, right? That's spread across the United States, typically, in bigger metropolitan markets. But, 5,000 divided, say, by, 20 cities, if you will, which is merely a guess, but that's 250 homes per city. Let's say 250 homes came up in a city that they had a huge concentration in, right? So 5,000 homes spread across the United States, 20 cities, and that's the guess, right? There's no facts behind that, but let's say it is divided amongst 20 cities, so that's 250 properties per city, or per county, or however you want to look at it. Let's take Orange County, for example. As of today, 3.3 million people in Orange County. We have about 1,600 active homes on the market. That's single families, townhomes, and condos. So adding 250 homes, for example, to our inventory does absolutely nothing. It gives buyers more opportunity, more potential to maybe buy something, but it doesn't change the dynamic of the housing market at all. In fact, it just gives buyers more choices. It doesn't do anything. in the grand scheme of things. Now, there might be a city that has more inventory than, say, Orange County, and 250 homes coming on the market there might slow the growth in that city, might slow the appreciation, but it doesn't cause a crash. And that's really what I'm trying to get across to people out there talking about, the Zillow thing, crumbling and it causing a big change in the market. It's not going to do much of anything at all. If it does anything, it's not likely to do anything at all in the big scheme of things. And a lot of those people out there that keep thinking this have also said that Zillow, the reason they stopped iBuying initially was because they see the insight in the market, right? They see the data, they're able to gather this data, and they know a crash is coming, and therefore that's why they got out. Well, let's talk about their latest release that was just 2 days ago. They actually revised their forecast to show growth from October of this year to October of next year. So October of 2021 to October of 2022, they're predicting over a 13% appreciation in home price from that period. And they're also revising their numbers from earlier this year to 19.5% from December of last year to December of this year. So essentially Zillow's coming out and saying that they're seeing a stronger market than they thought they would. So let's talk about why they would actually stop buying homes if they saw this strong market. So let's talk about why Zillow would come out and release data like this if they believe something entirely different. Well, they wouldn't, right? They're revising their numbers. They're telling you exactly what they're seeing in the housing market. And it really backs up what they said with why they stopped buying properties initially. They stopped them because there was a labor shortage in the market, for one, right? So they had purchased so many properties that they didn't have the manpower to take care of them. And think about it. If you're out there at the moment, you're going to restaurants, you're out shopping, every single store has a help wanted sign. Everyone is trying to find labor because no one wants to work. And I'm not saying that's the only reason Zillow had to sell. I mean, we know that they purchased a lot of properties and paid way more for them than they should. So they were already in a position where maybe they were upside down, but they didn't have the manpower to actually take care of these properties and put them on the market and sell them. And that was really the reason that they stopped. They were losing so much money and they decided just to put a halt on it and sell everything at once. So, a company that had some insight into the market and thinks there's a crash coming wouldn't also come out simultaneously and say that, they're expecting this increase in demand, increase in market appreciation. Instead, they would likely just not put these forecasts out there, or if anything, just say a moderate increase in prices. They wouldn't revise their numbers upward during that time. And that's what I want people to understand is that just because they've stopped buying property doesn't necessarily mean they think there's something negative behind it. Everyone likes to say that Zillow has all the data out there and that's the reason that they stopped buying, but it could be the other way. Maybe they have all the data out there and they're actually seeing an increase in the market. People use the numbers to help them benefit their narrative. And so in this case, if you believe that there's a crash coming, you can say that Zillow is seeing something in the market, some foresight into the market, and that's the reason they sold all of them. But at the end of the day, they've released a press release and, hey, no, we're actually expecting an increase in appreciation year over year instead of what everyone out there wants to believe, hopes to believe. The people that hope there's a housing crash coming are the ones that believe that, that there's some insight that they're seeing with regards to data. The people that are actually looking at the numbers, the real numbers, supply, demand, what's driven up the market, are the ones looking at this forecast going, no, it's likely to be that 13% year over year increase like they're expecting. And in fact, they're not the only company out there predicting that. We've seen Goldman Sachs come out and say that they're expecting a 16% year over year appreciation. We've seen Fannie Mae come out and said that they're expecting 6 to 7%. We've seen CoreLogic, who's on the lower end, say that they're expecting 2%, 2.6 or 2.7%. So the majority of everyone out there is looking at the data going, we don't have enough supply, demand is still very high, the market is going to continue to move forward. And Zillow is on board with that. So regardless of why you think Zillow stopped buying homes, that's really irrelevant at the moment. Everyone always wants to point to the data, and right now the data supports year-over-year appreciation. So if you're considering buying a home, selling a home, take this stuff into account. Now, we don't know. The housing market could change over the next couple of months, but until supply increases and demand drops off, you're not likely to see any real change in the housing market. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, well, interest rates are going to go up, that's going to slow the housing market, check out this video here. I actually talk about how interest rates affect the housing market, give you examples of what it looks like if prices do change and interest rates go up. So do me a favor, watch that, comment in the video, let me know what you think. But for now, I appreciate you taking the time to watch. I appreciate all the support. Hope to see you again soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.